Hello, and welcome to Down the Rabbit Hole, where we're going to be talking about the children of Queen Victoria today. We're talking about the second child today, and this is going to be a short episode. I promise y'all. There's a lot of research on them, so I try to condense this as much as I could. But if you're new here, hit that like button, ring that bell for notifications. Also, please subscribe, help a girl out. Um, but today we're talking about Edward VII. He was the second son He was the second child and firstborn son of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. He was also the heir to the English throne. He was also a very much a playboy. He did not care. He liked to mess around and find out and saw what happened. And this also resulted in his mom blaming him for the death of Prince Albert for the rest of her life. Now, how was exact? So, but if you're new here, hit that like button, ring that bell for notifications. Also, please subscribe, help a girl out. But we have to ask the question, who was Edward VII? Well, Edward VII became king upon the death of his mom, Queen Victoria, in 1901. He was a popular member of social and sports clubs, and he was strengthening English ties with the rest of Europe. Although his relationship with Germany's emperor, his nephew, was rocky, his reforms of the military and navy prepared them well for World War One. Now, let's talk about his early life. The eldest son of Prince Albert and Queen Victoria, the future Edward VII, was born Albert Edward, also known as Bertie, within his family, and he was subject to a strict regimen to prepare him for the throne, and he really did not excel in education. As was customary for members of the British royal family, Prince Edward attended Oxford and Cambridge universities and soon declared his desire to pursue a career in the military. His mom vetoed the idea, but hoping to keep him safe for the throne. And during his short time in the army, he rose to the level of lieutenant colonel through honorary promotions. Now, let's talk about his life and children. On March 10th, 1863, Edward would marry Princess Alexandra of Denmark. The marriage was arranged by Edward's parents, who produced six children, five of whom lived to adulthood before his marriage, but after his engagement, Edward fell into a scandalous love affair with the actress Nellie Clifton. So, in distraught with his father, Prince Albert was over the disgrace to the royal family that he personally went to visit his son to reprimand him. The affair ended, but 2 weeks later, Albert fell ill and he died of typhoid on December 14, 1861. Queen Victoria would go into a deep depression, and she would blame Edward for her husband's death and never forgave him. And Edward did continue to have many affairs throughout his marriage with actresses, Sarah Bernhardt and Lily Lowtry, as well as Lady Randolph Churchill and Winston Churchill, which were we really surprised by the Jenny Jerome one? Just saying. Jenny Jerome, she wasn't exactly a classy lady, if you know what I mean. Alice Keppel, and was among his many tires. An interesting fact about Alice Keppel, a descendant of hers is currently the queen consort of the UK right now. She really should be a princess, because she wasn't. Yeah, but yes, we don't mention her name because I'm a Princess Diana lover, guys. I really am. So we're not going to mention her name. But with Queen Victoria's retreat from public life, Edward was allowed to represent her at official state events, but not given any responsibility in political matters. He took a seat in the House of Lords as the Duke of Cornwall, but he had few and no administrative duties, and as a result, he spent much of his time on the London social scene, eating, drinking, and gambling, and acquiring a reputation as a playboy. Now, he would become now January 22nd, 1901, Queen Victoria would die. Um, he would be crowned King Edward VII in August 1902. Edward had been the longest heir apparent in British history, which was surpassed by Prince Charles, now King Charles III. And upon descending to the throne, he threw himself into the new role with energy and enthusiasm and restored the sparkle of the monarchy. and his impulsive personality and likable character soon won over much of the British population. Edward's use of fluency in French and German to shuttle across Europe was met with major heads of states, and he helped negotiate with the Triple Entente between British, France, and Russia, and which was also played an important role in World War One. Following the Boer War, he played an active role in reforming the military, pressing for army medical services and the building of the modern dreadnought battleship. Now, the Edwardian period was seen as the golden age for the upper class in Britain. Through the rigid class systems that held firm and rapid industrializations increased economic opportunity, creating conditions that would basically allow for more social mobility with it and more social change. And though there was a rise in socialism and the attention that here we go. Attention to flight of the poor, as well as the women for voting rights domestically, Edward did not support women's suffrages nor attempts to redistribute wealth through taxes, despite this he was very popular with most of the British people. Now, there was a constitutional crisis. In 1909, a constitutional crisis erupted over the people's budget legislation, and that called for unprecedented taxes for the wealthy and radical social welfare program. The budget was championed by Liberal Party Prime Minister Harold Iscliffe and his Chancellor David Lloyd George. Privately, um, the king pleaded with the conservative lords to pass the budget to avoid political division. The break to break the deadlock, Lloyd George proposed to a new king, create a large number of liberals positions in the House of Lords, and the offset to no votes. However, the king refused, insisting that the issue be decided by the people in a general election. The issue remained unresolved until Edward's son George ascended to the throne and became King George V. By 1910, Edward VII's years of smoking of 12 cigars and more than 20 cigarettes a day brought him a severe case of bronchitis. And during the official event in France, he momentarily lost consciousness, and on April 27, 1910, he returned to London. His wife Alexandra returned from Greece on May 5th, and the next day they called their children to tell them the father was gravely ill. On May 6th, Edward suffered a series of heart attacks and died. Edward VII was buried at Windsor Castle on May 20th, 1910. The funeral was attended by a massive assemblage of royalty, and his legacy was marked by criticism and pursuit of self-indulgence, but was praised by his personality and diplomatic skill. That is it for this episode. Y'all can join me next time as we are going to be talking about Princess Alice. Y'all have a great day and a happy Thanksgiving.